months ago, I made a new friend. Right when I needed it. Best friend's been there. He's been through it all before me. What happened next is truly for the books. It is now. Opened his heart, he opened his heart to me. He opened his heart for you. So no matter what, no matter what, you've got to roll. Yeah, you can't go slow. Get through this time we're living in. Get your updates from Wages World. You may find yourself in the mirror, quoting yourself, you're looking for answers. Get your space weather from Wages World. The Wages World. Go get it all from Wages World. You check it, you gotta see me coming at me. Gotta get on by 3, gotta tell the world, get ready, cause you don't know what's coming if we got shut down. No, but I'm gonna give it to you if we can. We're going to be prepared. Get your prep on the Wages World. Get your funk with the Wages World, yeah. Maybe we'll have a little Hammerlin Jameson on Wages World, yeah. There's just one show you got to catch. It's Wages World. There's just one show you got to catch. It's Wages World. My brother Wages. Down and into the brother Wages. Down and into the brother Wages. Yeah, get the Wages World, yeah. See.
What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing okay. Thought I'd pop in here and give you guys a show. Somebody give me a 5 for 5 there in the chat. Make sure my audio and my video is okay. Please, please, please. Wolfie, what's up? Muse, Wolf, Carolyn, Trish, Will, Taylor, T.Y., George, what's up? Guys, ACW, Muse, Daniel, what's up? George, Jason, Michael, Anna, okay, cool, 6x6. Thanks, Ellie, good to see you, brother. So yeah, hey, 210, what's going on? Guys, don't ever, don't feel like you have to come over here if you're on somebody else's channel. It's live right now. Right now, usually between 7 and 10 or 11 o'clock. That's usually Eastern time anyway, for those of us over here, in the States. That's usually the busiest time for streamers to be on. So I get it. You guys can watch mine on replay if you want. It's not going to offend me at all, guys. Those guys, their channels aren't quite as big as mine, and they can probably, use the support and stuff. So that's why I always, over to Mark's channel, over to Watch with Wayne. Those are both great people, and anybody else also. So, That's what I would say. But I'm glad to have you here. I mean, honestly. Thank you to all my mods and for being here. Sorry about that, guys. You guys do a great job. So we do got a lot to go over. So I am going to hide my chat. Okay, I'm just going to drop it down. I'll pop back in and check on you, but I trust my mods. Guys, you get 3 strikes. You know, if you get banned from one of my moderators, you know, just no vulgarity, stuff like that. Don't be attacking anybody. You know, just be an adult. I mean, honestly, and not a troll or a keyboard warrior. You know, but if you get banned by one of my mods, most of the time you're not going to get unbanned because I trust their judgment, or they wouldn't be a moderator. So just so you guys know, we are going to go now. In other circumstances, I would, you know, if it's something crazy or an accident or stuff like that, obviously that would get corrected. But if that ever happens to anybody, just email me and we'll try to get to the bottom of it and see what happens. But I trust my mods and we're going to get into it. Okay, guys? So thanks, guys. Here we go. Schumann. We'll just start right here. You can most definitely see. I mean, this is, this is now like a week-long event. We're having spikes every day at this time. Now, I want to point something out. You guys see the time frames here. Remember, this tool's in Russia. So the time that this tool is picking up the extra frequency stuff here, that part of the world is facing the sun. So, you know, and all these spikes, except for the one, and it still did do it during the daytime too, during that one spike, every one of them are right about the same time. And that's not a coincidence. To me, that is most definitely because we're facing the sun and we're getting energy and stuff from the sun. So that's what's, you know, it's kind of doing this. Again, my opinion. You know, there's a whole lot of, you know, Verte Arbuoto, you know, guys, I'm going to have him on my channel. We're trying to get our stuff, you know, lined out so I can show you guys his channel and get him over here and explain some stuff here with you guys that I can explain. I don't, you know, I have knowledge of this and I know what this can do to us. This can, you know, really, this affects us really, really harshly. And more people are more sensitive to this than other people. It you know, you could be sensitive to it or you could not be. But regardless, at the end of the day, we need 7.83 for our minds to really be on the same level there. That's what our bodies accept as normal. And if you don't have that hurt level, which is this consistent green line right here, going across here, if that's not there, eventually you will go crazy. You will literally go mad. They pump this into the space station. They pump it into people that work underground. Because these frequencies are bouncing around in between the surface of the Earth and our ionosphere. So anytime our ionosphere gets like compressed from anything from the sun, it affects the frequency. Or if stuff's getting through, it's going to affect the frequency. So that's kind of, we have to keep that in mind. But also, regional. This is regional. Okay, this is over in Russia. Now, there's other tools we can go look at too, but if it's happening day for a week long, most likely that's a global thing. Typically you won't see, you know, events like this last this long. This is quite a long time to be getting you know, this increase every day. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. Now, you know, on my thumbnail there, obviously flares. The sun started flaring again. You know, and we did get a coronal hole stream. Okay, let me show you guys, for those that don't know what a coronal hole is. See these black darked out areas here on the sun? These are called coronal holes, and solar wind charged particles is what they are. Okay, it's plasma, and it gets here through a magnetic connection line, interplanetary magnetic field line. It travels on that line because it has a charge, just like electricity. Okay, so when the corona of the sun and the surface of the sun here opens up, it lets more particles out. And that's why we get an increase in solar wind. So that's what's happening here. When we get when you know, the Earth is kind of here, so when we're kind of like lined up for these things, and this one over here was over here about 3-4 days ago. So that's why we got the increase in geomagnetism. right here. Oops, sorry. Down here. Okay, now we didn't get into storm level. Almost. There was a slight chance we were going to, but it wasn't going to be a big deal either way. But we did get a steady increase. This looked just like a coronal hole stream would with all the data. It's a very normal thing that we've seen there. But now we're getting flaring. These flares will affect us right away with X-ray. Okay, the X-rays hit us in 8 minutes from the flares. The other stuff, if there is plasma able to escape the sun's corona, if it gets out there into space shot at us, it's going to take 3 to 5 days to get here. Sometimes 2 if it's a really strong one. But if that ever is going to be the case, then most definitely we will be on here talking about it, because that means it's going to be a pretty strong one. But with that being said, here's the absorption model here. Okay, this shows the flaring. And so let me just play it right there. You see that one? Now, something else, I want you guys to notice this, okay? If you look at the time frame, it's 1724 UTC time. If you're living in Eastern Standard Time, that's East Coast USA, you can subtract roughly about 4 hours from that. So I'd put it at 1324. So this is dead smack right in the middle of the day. Okay, so that's why when that flared, that's why it impacted here. That's why you're seeing this. Okay, so where this is dark, it's nighttime over here. Now you're going to get a little overflow because you can see how it impacted the whole North Pole. Even though some of it was facing, the other side. But this is where that gets in easier, is on the poles. So that's why you're seeing it there. But you can definitely see a clear night and day here. But that's one of the flares there. Now we're going to see quite a few here. Littler ones. See that one dies off. And then there's another one. Not very strong, but it's still flaring. Okay. There is what I would call lower end moderate, I guess, if you want to use those kinds of terms. Nothing that's really going to impact us that much. Until you start seeing the big colors here, guys, you really don't have much to worry about. And even at that, then we're talking about radiation after that. But you can see how it just keeps flaring. So it's very consistent with what we've seen here. See all these little spikes? Now, this was a C class. I'm not sure exactly how far into the C class it got, but it most definitely was a C class flare. And let me increase the thing here. Now, their prediction models are here too. Okay, NOAA's prediction models, forecasting. So that's a KP number, which is down here. It directly correlates with the magnetic storm numbers. So what you're seeing here is they're forecasting for the next 3 days. All right. Now, they will, like say right now, if it showed this next mark and it came in at a 5 or something, they would go in and change that to a 5. But this is their forecasting for the next 3 days. And you can go down and read all the text here too. And it will tell you why they think this or those kinds of things. If you really want to know, get that deep into it. But, unless something else happens, these numbers are usually fairly consistent. What I mean by consistent, they're consistent with being, correct. There's always a margin of error that people forget to mention. Okay? It's just like with the flare or the CME and stuff like that, when it's going to impact us or a coronal hole stream, they have a margin of error built in to a plus or minus 7 hours. And almost nobody mentions that. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. Because, people that know those kinds of things and don't say it, it makes you wonder if they're just trying to sensationalize things just to try to get clicks or whatever. So, that needs to be said. So, but I will definitely point it out when their forecasting's way off. I always do. I mean, you have to. You got to be fair on both sides of it. And that's my whole point. Okay. So, yeah, let me check on the chat. You guys okay in there? Give me a Yeah, just tell me okay or whatever here. Just make sure. Okay, cool. Hey, Axe, I just seen you in there. Sorry I didn't read your text there or your message there in the comment section. I just caught it in the corner of my eye. Good to see you, bud. Axe is going to be Axe and his wife is going to be coming on my show here. We're trying to hammer down some time. I got some stuff going on in my own personal life right now, which is really hard for me to like really nail down some times. But I got quite a few people that want to come onto the show, and you know, I want to get a Canadian's viewpoint right now. And Axe, and you know, he has kids. So is Wayne. Watch with Wayne. I want to get him on too because both of them are going to have different perspectives. I would imagine. Or they could be very close. They both live in Canada, and there's some crazy stuff going on up there with all the lockdowns and stuff. And I want to get people, you know, on here that's going to have some insight on that and let everybody know what life is actually like up there from somebody that's living there. Not just somebody out here spouting this, that, or the other and just taking somebody else's word for it. I want to get it straight from the horse's mouth. So, and Axe said he would do that for me, and I think Wayne would too. I just got to get up. I've been kind of hit and miss with the comments over there. I haven't had a whole time to even watch YouTube at all. I try to get over and watch Mark Pires every day too, and trying to catch everybody's show and Ron Emergency Management. I just can't catch all the shows, especially when you're busy. It's getting really, really kind of hard to do that, but that's a good thing because that means that there's a lot of us out here talking about this stuff. So that's the way I look at it. You know, my brother Mark, you know, go over and check him out. Mark Pires, Renaissance Man. He did my intro. He's really, it's a positivity network over there, guys. And let me tell you something. It's comedy, it's music, it's all great stuff. If you need to defrag your brain and just chill out and catch some positivity and smiles, go there. That's where I point everybody because I'm there. I go there I'm in the chat. I'm a mod over there, and like I said, me and Mark are really good friends. So, let's go on here to well, I didn't go over this. This is Discover data. All right, so what we're looking at, this is the BZ. We look for -6, okay, or greater as far as moving further into the negatives. Nothing's hitting that. That's the angle of which the solar wind enters our system or hits our magnetic field, that kind of a thing. So, yeah. So if it ain't -6, usually we don't have much of an issue. If it gets to -6, that means our angle is correct for it to really come in pretty easy, and we can take some pretty good hits magnetically. Now the density here, the orange line, the other day we had when we got hit with that coronal hole stream, it got up to like 30. So, I mean, that was a decent hit. Here's the solar wind. What's normal for solar wind on the purple here would be 300 to 500. And everything's falling into the normal. But what I have noticed is when we start creeping up towards 500 nowadays, this didn't used to be like this. We start taking harder hits now. It seems to me, and this is just by my own observation, I can't say empirically 100% that this is actually what's happening, but it does seem to me from my observations that it's not taking as much solar wind speed to really give us a good hit. Now, I understand it takes a lot of things really to kind of fall in place for that to happen anyway, but, you know, 500 is at the top end of normal, and I've seen us take some pretty good hits and especially when none of it really is all that high. Density, normal for that is right around 4, okay, and it's hanging right in there right now, the orange line there. Now, the green's temperature, so when everything reacts at the same time, typically that means we're getting hit from the sun. But right now we're not really seeing much of that. This is our magnetosphere, our magnetic field, basically. This is our protection, right? What you're seeing here, this is the solar wind speed, its velocity. And, you know, you see the darker reds, that means that that's polarity. It's basically talking about here. Remember I said solar wind is charged particles, so it has a negative and a positive. So you can tell what direction the solar wind's moving by its polarity. So if it's red, that means it's there, right? It's moving from left to right. If you go to the other side of the zero into the positive numbers here, then you're looking at moving the other direction. Okay, so we're looking at this stuff moving from right to left. Now you can tell where it stops. It doesn't really, usually it'll hit the backside of our protection and stuff here. We're not protected as well back here. Just saying that straight and foremost. You know, and there's a whole lot of reasons why that could be happening. And like I said, guys, I encourage everybody to go check out everybody's stuff. You guys make up your own mind on all that. I don't want to tell anybody how to think, and I won't. So, just so you know. Now, right here, guys, this is density. The darker colors, darker blues, that's higher density. And then the white color are lower density. So you're probably asking yourself, why is it all white right behind us? Well, this is our protection. So when the denser particles hit our bow shock, which is our first line of defense out here, okay, it's where the solar wind meets our magnetic field. That is our bow shock. It's still there. Don't think it's gone. See it? Some people will tell you this thing goes down. It does not. Okay, the bow shock is nothing more, if you go off its definition, than the space or place where the solar wind meets the magnetic field. Okay, only way that goes away is if solar wind goes away, which is the only way that's going to happen is if the sun burns out. Okay, or our magnetic field goes completely away. It would have to go completely away for that to happen. So neither one of those is going to happen, guys. And if it does happen, something like that does happen, we wouldn't be talking. It would be over. Just so you know. But yeah, you know, as far as electricity and stuff, it would be over really, really quick. Now, anyway, you got pressure, okay? And I've also come to find out, you know, usually with the pressure here, guys, it has a lot to do with the density of the particles that are hanging around. I think it affects the amount of pressure we get more than just simple solar wind speed. I think the denseness of the particles. Now, I could dive into some research on that and figure out if that's really like scientifically sound to say something like that. But again, my observation, when there's higher dense stuff hanging around, because look, right here where the pressure's built, if we go up here and look at our density, it's there, right? It's almost a direct correlation. So, yeah, I have a hard time thinking, you know, you got higher pressure here, but if you go up here to the solar wind speed, that's low speed up here. So it has to be coming from the density part of it, the protons. So that's what, you know, it's just, again, my own personal observation. I'm sure there's some science behind there we could dig into, but it would just take so long to really do that. I mean, I could explain it to you guys all day long, but you guys would get bored, guaranteed. This is geoelectric field model. What are we seeing here? This is space weather's effect on our electrical grid system, or unnatural electrical components, which means power lines, you know, anything that's man-made, okay, that isn't naturally there. Now, you're going to notice this model over here isn't completed. It will be completed eventually, but this is still kind of in the testing and building stages. You're going to notice around the bigger cities, you're going to see more of a activity level, and that's because there are more electrical components around a higher populated area. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? But this map over here, this one-dimensional map, does just a really good job too. Okay, this is something we didn't have till about 2 or 3 years ago. So this is kind of a newer model, but it does help us understand it better, I think, sometimes. So that now Aurora, okay, north, south pole here. I'll just grab this right here. And again, when we get hit with solar wind and stuff like this, you definitely will see an uptick. See it? See it fluctuating here? Same thing on the south pole. Okay? That's what happens. Nothing big there, though, guys. Aurora, you will see that really, really spike when we get hit from pretty decent from the sun. Okay? Okay, so SETI. Not SETI, but SEEDS. LASCO C2, okay? This satellite is on the SOHO satellite, sits right out in front of Earth. See where my cursor is? And it's always looking at the sun. It travels, orbits the sun on this line. Okay? Always in front of us. You see the Earth's orbit, and then you see that satellite's orbit. It's always pointed at the sun unless they move it, and they can steer it and all that kind of stuff. But for our purposes, we're going to just say, hey, it's always looking at the sun. So that's its position. So when we look at this, we know that this is from our viewpoint. This is from our perspective. The black is the occulter. They have to have this black ring. It's a physical ring that actually blocks the light. Okay? It has to block that intense light or we can't get a capture at all. The equipment would not work. All right? So, and then you look over here on the red view. Same thing. This is actually representing the surface of the sun. Right here. So if you could take this circle and put it over here and kind of imagine it there, that would be the surface of the sun. So when we see stuff blow off of the sun, we have to keep in mind that there is some distance between the surface and the edge of the occulter. So there's some time there that we don't get to see anything if it's coming right at us. And sometimes we can't see it at all in this tool. So what do? Well, we got to go look. And by the way, nothing's really coming at us right now, according to seeds. But we'll keep an eye on this as far as CME action. Now, I know, like I said, we've seen flares, and I'll get into that in just a second, but I don't think any of that stuff's really coming at us. I think it flared, and the CME that was with it is probably going off the backside, and I'll show it to you here in just a second. But this is our side view. Now, any of you guys that have been on my channel at all, I'm going to bring the chat up for this one. Okay, this is stereo A. Okay, Earth is here where my cursor is, right? Well, the satellite's here. Okay, Earth would be over here. This is a side view of the sun. Now, all the equipment's pretty much the same as what I just showed you with the occulter and all that. But this is a side view. So when stuff gets blown off this way, that means that it's coming towards us, at least according to this viewpoint. So what we're looking at here is from over here. Now, guys, are you looking at this like I am, right? Obviously, this is all jacked up. So, I've seen it do stuff like this before. All right, obviously, we're not getting any data from this. Now, the satellite is still there. The satellite and even some of the equipment on the satellite is still working. Okay, this is stereo A. And this is the coronagraph. Core 2, A. Now we can go to Core 3, which is just a zoomed out view and all that. But I want you guys to see this because this is interesting to me because this is today. That's yesterday. That's the day before. And then now we get, this is what we would typically see. Okay? So the last view we got was on the 5th. Now I've not seen this particular tool be down like this for 3 days, especially when the other equipment on this satellite is working. Now, how do I know that? Well, let me show you how I know that real quick. I wasn't going to do that, but I will. I should have had it up there already. Yeah, it's all jacked up, Tam Tam. For sure. So, and I can't really tell you. Yeah, I mean, it's glitching, but here's the thing. We can go over here, and I can take you to, see, this is ISWA. I can take you to stereo A, and watch what happens. This is stereo A. This is just the EUVI. The SDO I show you guys all the time, right here. This is from our view over here, the SDO, but this is from stereo A, the side view. It's still getting data and transmitting it. So my question here is, guys, are we getting this view and this part of the equipment is okay? But when we go back over here to seeds, it's gone. Core 2 is not working right now for some reason. And this has taken quite a bit of time now. So I'm wondering if this thing is not just like terminally ill. This one particular piece of equipment on that satellite. Now, I have to point this out too. Stereo A has lived past its lifetime. Just so everybody knows. It's on a steady, it's catching up to Earth, okay? Right now it's about, I think it's, 1 or 2 months behind us in the same orbit as the Earth. So it's slow, because used to it'd be about 90 degrees away from us, right? Like this, I've explained this before. Now it's more like satellite here, Earth is kind of like over here. Not 90 degrees, it's closer to 45. And it's still moving towards us. So it's past its lifespan. They didn't expect it really to, it's doing more than what it should be. So we should feel fortunate for that. But at the same time, did we lose the coronagraph on this satellite? I hope not. I mean, but we do still have the extreme ultraviolet. So just know, I mean, and I just wanted to show you guys that before somebody else jumps out here and starts talking all crazy about something that they really shouldn't be talking about at all. Because this stuff is not, just because a piece of equipment breaks on it doesn't mean anything really. Especially when we're talking about an old piece of equipment that's lived past its lifespan. I mean, just think of your vehicles, guys. The older your vehicle gets, the more times it breaks down, right? Why would we think that the satellites and the equipment out there are any different? Especially when they're getting blasted with solar winds and stuff all the time without any protection like the Earth has with its magnetic field. The satellites that hang around Earth that are in like the orbits and stuff are getting protected by our magnetic field most of the time. Not all the way, but for the majority of it, yeah. That's why they last a lot longer when they're closer to us, because our magnetic field is protecting it. So this one's out here, out in space by itself, guys. So I mean, it is what it is, right? So I just wanted to point that out, guys, before somebody out there goes all nut crazy saying something that you know, because what they're going to do, they're going to show you this. Let me show you what's going to happen. I haven't even looked, and you know, like I said, I haven't had time to really check on YouTube at all, hardly at all. They're going to show you this, and they're going to make some big grand claim like something really bad is wrong. Okay, and they're going to show you these three, right? These 3 days. But they're not going to bother to click one more time and show you that 3 days ago we had data from it. And then I promise you they're not going to show you that the other equipment that's on this satellite is working. So just know that. Okay? So, and I get it. I really do. And we got to be skeptical, but we also have to be realistic. Okay? Now, I'm going to jump right into this too, because I know this is probably going to come up too. This is SDO. Now, this is not a glitch. On the 12th through the 13th, they're actually going to be doing some infrastructure maintenance, so they're going to have to shut down the servers for the SDO satellite. Okay? Which is, well, I'm getting ready to show it to you right here. Well, we'll just do this. This view. Okay? This is our view of the sun, extreme ultraviolet. Okay, so on the 12th and the 13th, we're not going to have any imaging from this satellite. We know it's coming. They told us, hey, on this day, da-da-da-da-da. We can talk about that later if we want. But, yeah. So, just know that. That's going to happen. And again, guys, I promise you, people that aren't really paying attention to this, or if they're looking at the SDO on a different website that doesn't necessarily tell them that this thing is going down, they're going to say, oh my gosh, somebody shut it down on purpose, right? I mean, yeah, that's what we hear every time. But nothing's happened yet, has it? Think about that for a second. People make grand claims about something getting shut down like that, and then nothing has happened. So let's just be real about it, right? Just saying. And again, like I said, we got to be skeptical. I definitely am skeptical, and I definitely research it out, which is why I showed you the other equipment on Stereo A working. Because I went that extra step like most people won't. They see something and they just run with it. And, you know, and that's just what it is. So, yeah. Could have broke from plasma. Yeah, I mean, Stereo A definitely is affected by that, guys. So you know. But anyway, this is the 304. And this, guys, I have to say that the sun is popping in quite a few different areas right now. The bigger flare that I'm talking about today is over here, and we're going to zoom into it. It's over here. See it right there? That was the bigger flare. We'll watch it again. Right about, yeah. There, see it? Now notice that's off to our right, if we're looking at this from our perspective. So, yeah. And so that doesn't look like, if it did, if any of that eruption left the sun as far as plasma, again, the X-ray has already hit Earth and it's gone. What we would be talking about now would either be radiation storms or a CME, and those wouldn't get here for, the CME wouldn't get here for 3 to 5 days. All right, so we would have time to look at this. So let me do this, and we'll take a different look at this on a different angstrom. And I would encourage you guys to go over here and check this site out yourself. See it? This is SDO. So all you got to do is type in SDO in Google, and you'll find this, okay? You can look at this same data on different websites. They all get the same data. They just have different ways of displaying it. It's pretty much what happens. This is the 171 angstrom. And why do we look in different angstroms? Because our eye, this is seen outside of our visual spectrum. So what they do is they assign an angstrom a color. They could have made this thing baby poop green or something. I don't know, whatever color they wanted to make it. Right? They chose to put the 171 yellow on this particular website. You go over to, I think it's ISWA. Yeah, I think ISWA. The 171 on ISWA, like Stereo A, is blue. So, I mean, they can make it whatever color they want. Hey, Ricky, what's up? So, the flaring's happening over here, and there was an eruption with it. So, there was CME action with it, I believe. But I don't think that it's coming at us. This one was rather violent, I have to say. When this thing pops off, it pops off pretty good. The flare happens here, but the eruption, obviously, is going to come from over this direction. So, we'll watch it. You'll see it really good right in here, where my cursor is. Right there. I mean, that thing it really did. It shot off there pretty good. Now, if we back this off and we look at just the overall view of the sun, I can point out other things here too. You're going to see some little popping going on here, up in here. And a lot of this stuff probably is not leaving the sun, but the fact that it's actually popping right now, we're going to have to pay attention. That's all I'm saying. We can see some filaments laying around here. Those could lift off. It's just like the filament in your incandescent light bulbs. For those of us that are old, we know what an incandescent light bulb is. There's a filament in the middle. When your light bulb goes out, that filament has broken. That's exactly what's happening here. When these things lift off, they break and they snap. So, and that shoots plasma out into space, and sometimes it's directed at Earth. That's what a CME is, okay? Or a filament release. I mean, we can go into definitions if we wanted to, but notice over here, we got this ejection over here, but watch over here close to the end of the time frame. You're going to see kind of like a big, gigantic backwards C shape, and it's starting to lift off the sun. I'll show it right there. See it? I know it's hard to catch right there, but it's there. That's another, and that's not coming at us. It's also going that way. So right now, here in about a week, a few more days here, those sunspots that gave us all those flares, the M-class flares, almost an X flare one time, didn't quite get there. It was a high M-class flare. Those are actually, some of those have held together, and they're going to be coming back around facing us again. Yes, Matthew, a CME causes an EMP-like effect. Yes, exactly. Great analogy. A lot of people will interchange those words when we're talking about solar weather because that's exactly how it affects us. If it knocks out our electricity, it did it just like an EMP would, but it would be, on a grander scale. So yeah, that's exactly right. What will the effect be here? As far as the CME, nothing right now, I don't think. Now, we could catch a glancing blow. Let me show you this. That's a good question. So let me pull this up. This is the CME tracker. This is NASA's version of it. Now we could go over here and we can look at NOAA's version of it. Again, same data, just a different model, and they have different parameters. So just like a hurricane forecast model, you see those spaghetti strings that we always see? You know, when a hurricane's getting ready to come inland and they got like 30 of those different colored lines showing the path of it. The difference is they're all getting the same data. It's just their models take certain things into consideration at different percentages. That's why they have different paths. So the same thing's happening here with space weather with NOAA's model, all right, versus NASA's. Okay, now this one won't update unless it sees a CME, and sometimes it won't even do that. This thing used to be like every time there was a CME, it would update, but it's probably staffing or money or something. There's probably some excuse there. But as you can see here, this is a top-down view. This is the sun. This is the Earth. This is a side view. This is the Earth. That's the sun. This is Earth's orbital line stretched out in a straight line. So why do we need all three? Well, because this is a two-dimensional model trying to represent something that's three-dimensional. So we have to have all three axis points to look at to make sure that it's actually going to be hitting where we're going to say it's going to hit. So if it hits the Earth on all three of these, they're saying that there's a good chance it could hit us. Now, this is a little itty-bitty ejection there, okay? It looks like that one's scheduled to get here about the 11th, but it doesn't look, it's just going to be not even really worth mentioning, I have to say. So, yeah, Hilly, you're talking about the Carrington event? Yes. You know, a lot of people, they default back to that. Okay, you'll hear a lot of space weather channels and other people talking about this. You know, there's before the Carrington event and after the Carrington event. It happened in 1859, for those that don't know, and it was a large solar flare CME type of thing, and it hit the Earth, and obviously the telegraph lines didn't have the protection as they should, and it just, you know, they're handheld units that like the operators would use for telegraphs. They would catch fire. They caught fire in their hands. Hey, Bonnie and Soul, what's up? Actually caught fire. So it burnt. I mean, this was like a global type of thing. But what I want to point out, guys, that is not the only event we can talk about. Don't forget about the event that happened, was it 89 or 91 in Canada. There was a 1920 event, 1920 something, 1812. I'm not sure about that, Taylor. I'd have to go back and look at that. 1909. There's a lot of different events that's happened, guys. So that's just, you know, hey, Menacing, what's up? So we can't just say that, you know, that, and we also have to keep in mind during all those events, hey, Tab, what's up? There were no satellites up there. Not doing what they're doing now. Especially back in 1859. So all we had to judge by is how big it was and the readings we got here from the surface. Okay? So chances are that was probably bigger. Yeah, 91 was the one mile high. Yep. Thank you for clarifying that. I couldn't remember if it was 91 or 89. So thank you for that. But listen, guys, these things happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We will catch a huge flare one of these days. We will. It's inevitable. We've just gotten pretty lucky so far. And all the data and stuff is showing that the magnetic field's weakening, and you know, there's a lot of people that challenge that. You know, if you look at the data is probably going to tell you, yeah, it's weakening. And there's like I said, there's other ideas out there too. People talk about it's not weakening. There's always going to be arguments. You know what I mean? People are going to disagree, and that's okay, because you know what that does? that challenges everybody, and it makes us all better as long as we're, willing to accept when we're wrong. When somebody can show you something and show you that you're wrong, if you can't admit it, that's, what that's called? That's called intellectual dishonesty. That's exactly what that is. So if you show them something and it's like, there it is, and they're still, for whatever reason, and they know, because you can tell when somebody's not. I mean, come on. So, yeah. Let me say this too, guys. Before we go any further, I'm going to do this real quick. This is, I'm starting a second channel. It's called Say It to My Face, and there is no content over here yet. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm trying to get opposite viewpoints. People that don't necessarily agree with each other, or even if they don't like each other at all. I want to get them all in the same room at the same time, and I want to bring that to you guys so you can see both sides. That's the goal of this channel. Now, what I'm willing to do is allow people to come on, and what I'll do is I'll probably put it on both channels at the beginning until we can get this one built up some. If somebody has a theory that they're talking about and they want to come on my show and tell the world what they're talking about, I would let them do that. But if they do that, they got to be willing to either have somebody come back and rebut what they say or enter into a debate if somebody wants to challenge them on it. But I'm willing to let them have my platform for, an hour or two, and I'll be here, obviously. And we'll let them talk about their theory. I'll ask questions, and I'll be completely neutral. I won't add or take away. You guys know I wouldn't. I don't. So my goal here is I want to try to get some traffic over here. So if I can get some people that want to show, not necessarily a mainstream point of view on things, come on my show and tell everybody what they're thinking and their evidence, show what they've got. And then I'm sure there's going to be somebody that doesn't really agree with what they're saying. And then we can get them both in the same room at the same time. And then we're all better for it, because then we got it all right in front of us all at the same time. And we don't have to question it because it's there. And then you can make up your own mind. I don't have to tell you how to think, and I won't. You guys are smart. Please don't undersell yourself. I get that a lot. You guys think that you're not smart enough to understand certain things, and that's not true. It's just simply not. You guys are smart, or I wouldn't even be talking. I learned more from you guys than I could have ever learned on my own. Just so you know. Hey, Verte, what's up, brother? And yeah, I'm going to be, like I said, Verte, I was just telling everybody earlier, I'm going to have you on my show as soon as I can get my personal life calmed down here a little bit. But this is what I'm talking about, guys. I'll get somebody on here who wants to put their theory out there, and if somebody wants to come on and challenge them, I'm going to let them do it. And I'm going to be completely neutral. All I'll be there is to make sure everybody gets equal speaking time and doesn't talk over each other. So that's the point of this one. So if you guys know anybody, or if you're one of those people, please email me. Okay? At jwages819. It's in the description at the bottom. Okay? At Gmail. If you guys would, please. I really want to get this going because I think it's going to help us all. I really do. And like I said, there's no subject that's off the table when it comes to this channel. It doesn't have to be about space weather. It could be about anything. Okay? Because I think this could be a place where we could talk about all subjects. Nothing is foobar over here. So, we can talk about whatever, Matthew. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It could be, it could be a little bit, it could get crazy, but if I moderate the correct way, we can at least get some sort of, I don't know, out of it, just try to get, not whatever there are rules, Oh, there would have to be some. The two people that would be debating would have to agree to rules. And they can set those up themselves, and I would be the mediator in that. And they would have to abide by those rules. And then, if they were to break them, I would step in as a moderator. And there's if you guys want, like an official debate knowledge, exactly. You can set it up like that, but I don't want to just narrow it down just to that either. If somebody wants to have a cordial, respectful, just conversation with each other, and I could moderate that, I would do that too. So that's just what I'm saying. So that's kind of was, speak about whatever I wanted to. It wouldn't be happening on the internet. Matthew, you're kind of right, and you're kind of missing it here a little bit. And let me explain. There's a channel called Modern Day Debate. I encourage everybody to go check that out. Let me tell you why. They say and talk about certain things on that channel that you wouldn't think anybody could say. But because it's under a debate category. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I got you, Matthew, for real. Okay. No. And yeah, if you wanted to, like I said, guys, email me. I'm willing to have that conversation with anybody. And like I said, but if you come on here, what I don't want people to miss here is that if they're going to put their stuff out there, it will be scrutinized. People will challenge it. And if they want to come on my show and challenge it, I would let that happen. That would be one of the stipulations. Because the whole point is to see both sides. And then people make up their own mind. That's just kind of that's the idea behind it. And again, guys, it may not work. I don't know. But go check out Modern Day Debate. There's so many different, they talk about flat earth. They talk about any religious topic you could think of, race. They talk about, just everything, capitalism versus liberalism. It's a great channel. And I would encourage anybody to go over there and do that and go check them out. If you guys do go over there and check them out, tell them Wages World sent you. Because James is a really good guy. I'd like to get in contact with him because he might be able to give me some contacts and I might be able to get some stuff started up. I think that would be cool. But yeah. So anyway, let's finish up here. Sorry about that. It was just, it was a perfect time to say something about that because, just the way it happened. Sorry. We are in a meteor shower, guys. But it's happening during the day. And that's why we're not going to be able to see much of it. It's like 60 an hour, but it's during the day, so you can't see them. So I just want to point that out. That's happening. The sunrise solar eclipse, I think, is on the 10th, I believe. By the way, this is spaceweather.com. Go give them some love. They do a great job over here, guys. They got on-point articles. It's all about what we talk about all the time here, and they do a really good job. But to see this eclipse, if you're in the eastern, let's see here. Here we go. Visibility maps. Okay, so this is what you're going to see. This is the April 8th, 2024. This is the 14th. Now, this is the June 10th one. Let's see if it... Yeah, here it is. See it? This is the part of the world you're going to see it in. So if you guys go over to spaceweather.com and just click that link, you'll be able to get to right here, and you'll be able to see. So, this is the main viewing point where the majority of it, the full eclipse is going to happen. Now, because of the size of the moon and its position and where we're at in our orbit, it will cause what they call the ring of fire. It will look like this at its peak. So the moon will be right there, and then you'll have a ring around it. That's what's going to happen with this eclipse. And you got to look at it like first thing in the morning, I think, is when it's happening. Like on the horizon. So this is kind of what it looks like from certain points of view. This is New York, I think. When the sun rises over New York City on Thursday morning. Yep, the 10th. Okay. So Thursday, guys. Check them out. Now, I want to point something out here, too, real quick. This is near-Earth objects. Okay, these are asteroids and meteorites or whatever you want to talk about here that have been detected. Anybody that's been watching my channel for a minute is going to realize that this list is small right now. Now, there's no coincidence here in this. There is a reason for this. What's that reason? Well, because of where we're at in our orbit. All right? You got to understand, when we go through like meteor showers and stuff like that, this thing typically will increase because we're in a dirtier part of space. So if they haven't seen one, and they'll usually catch it then. But because of where we're at in our orbit, we know where the active areas of space are. And if you look here, what is today? You know, they're not saying any near-Earth objects from the 8th, 9th at all. That is not normal of what we usually see. Usually this list, you guys can attend, anybody that's been watching again, is like double this size. So we're just in an area of space that's historically not as active. And that's probably what's going on here. But regardless, we still keep an eye on this. Now, they will add stuff here when they catch it, right? If you guys want to know when they caught these things, when they spotted it, go over here to the name. They always put the year out in front of it. Notice, look here, 2021, 2021, 2021. Okay, and then you get down through here and you start seeing 2008 and stuff starts popping up when they did see it back then too. But remember, it's a big sky, guys, and they're not going to catch everything. They just can't. But this is the velocity at which it's moving, right here. This is the mist distance. They do that by lunar distance, the distance between us and the moon. Okay? So when you're looking at that, that's what you're seeing. That's 0.4 LD is not even halfway to the moon. So that meteorite actually, passed between us and the moon. It was 13 meters in diameter. That's not big, but it's not like extremely small. It was moving at 17.4 kilometers a second. Now you can compare that to what else is on the list here, and you can see that that's actually pretty fast. But the size of it is actually smaller than what most of this is, right? So even if this was to come into our atmosphere, most likely it would just get burned up. So that's what I would say there. Now I've been doing those 1 minute shorts, guys. If you guys like that, let me know. If you like the shorts that I've been doing, type a 1 in the chat for me, would you? Just start filling it up with ones, and if you don't like them, just put a 2. I want to know I'll probably put a survey out later on too. But I want to know if that's even something people want to see here on YouTube. I got a TikTok also. It's Wages World. It's in my description too. And I do understand if people don't want to, be on TikTok. I get it. All right, I understand. But I'm there. If you guys want to come over there, Axe has got a really good channel. Him and his wife over there on TikTok also. So go check him out over there. So yeah. Yeah, thanks, Axe. I appreciate that. Yeah, it does. Those 1 minute shorts does actually focus me a little better. And I'm able to get the information out for people that have been around for a while and they understand what I'm saying without having to explain. So, this is Noctilucent clouds. These are blue metallic looking clouds. They are formed by water vapor that freezes around meteor dust high up in our atmosphere. They happen during the summertime in each hemisphere. So right now in the south, there are no Noctilucent clouds. Now, they have been reported down further south towards the equator during certain times. Now, last season in the south, they were 2 weeks late. That's significant, okay? That means that temperatures and stuff weren't quite the same. It takes hotter temperatures to increase the water vapor. You get that vapor high up in the atmosphere, no matter if it's summertime or not, it's going to freeze. So that's why you see it during the warmer times. Even though it's a freezing effect, you see it during the warmer times because it's creating more water vapor because stuff's melting and evaporating and going up into the atmosphere. So this is what we got right now, Noctilucent cloud-wise. This is pretty normal. You guys can see right here the land marks here. I believe, I can't really tell from this view. Where am I looking at here? Well, we're looking dead at the North Pole here. Is that Iceland? I think it is. Trying to find. My eyes aren't working, guys. Sorry. You can actually go to that website over here, guys. Look, you can change the. Here, we'll do this. See this? See the viewpoint, how it changed? Well, it didn't do it that time. You can change it here. USA, Asia, the polar view, which is what I just showed you, Europe. Okay? So there's your Noctilucent clouds. Earthquakes. Guys, if you haven't been over to Ron's channel, Emergency Management Associates, Tyler is the actual name of the channel. If one of my mods could drop the link in there to Ron's channel, please do. He talks about earthquakes a lot. I trust him in what he says and does. He does a really good job. He gets into detail, guys, about what's going on, and he's on the ball too. If something happens, he's coming online and he's taking care of it. So just letting everybody know. But anyway, if somebody could drop Ron Emergency Management's link in the chat, that would be great. Now, guys, we're getting 4 9s, close to 5s. Now, the bigger story for us over here right now was down here at the Salton Sea. Okay? So, there was an earthquake swarm here. We had a bigger one, I think it was a 5.3, and there was like hundreds of them after that. That's significant. That's on the San Andreas. And, Ron was pointing out that there was actually like 4 swarms. I think Ron was talking about that. Or maybe 3. I can't remember. Can't remember who was talking about that. But there was more than one swarm going around. Now, again, guys, this is, we don't see a whole lot of reporting outside of the U.S. because this is USGS. Earthquakes do not stop at the Canadian border. Okay, but that's what it will look like sometimes. See, watch this. Just let me show you this. If I change the key over here to all magnitudes, you see how these earthquakes are happening here? And they go here to the Canadian border and they stop, and then they start again here in Alaska. The reason why is because this is USGS. We can go to the Canadian site, which I guess I could do it right now for you guys. I haven't shown this one in a minute. And I quit kind of showing this one because it was like it's a 30-day thing, okay? So it kind of makes it hard to follow. But see all the earthquakes that happened that USGS was not showing? So just because it's north of the border doesn't mean, or any outside of our borders, don't mean that there weren't earthquakes happening. So, yeah. I got to point that out, just to be real. Yeah, okay. And I want to show you guys one more thing before we go ahead and get off of here. I'm going to back this out. Okay, I put this together last night, guys. And I want to show you guys this because this is what we've been talking about with the solar sunspot cycle, right? How active is the sun? Well, you can see its activity year to year right here with what I'm showing you right now. Okay, this is 2021, 2020, 19, 18, 17, 2016. Now, if you count 5 years, 5.5 years, that's like half of the solar sunspot cycle. It's right around 11 years. You can't hammer a date down because of the way that they do it, okay? but it's roughly 11-year solar cycle, right? So this one and this one resemble each other quite a bit, don't they? So these are the years before. This is when we were in a lower time frame. You can definitely see. Look at the sun here, guys. See how inactive it is? These are all pictures from the same day, just years apart. So I wanted to show you guys that. And I guess what I can do is just zoom this in a little bit more. Just scroll that down. See down here? See where the sunspot numbers? This is like yesterday's capture. And then last year, hardly anything. You had one. Definitely no sunspots here or here. Okay? But then when you get it right around, start the ramp up time again, you see what happens? It's ramping up again. So we're in that ramp up time right now. Thanks, Zeno. Good to see you. Hey, Kathy, what's up? So yeah. But I just wanted to. What's your question, Face? Let me see. This is why you're burning? Are you talking about sunburn? Varying or buying? I don't know. But I'm confused there, Face the Sky. Help me out there. Little confused. Yeah, it's been warm for sure. Daniel, it has. Hey, Jason, what's up? Yeah, I'm a little confused on that question, too. Maybe she's calling me a used car salesman or something. Maybe she's taking a shot at me. That's okay. I mean, if she is, it can stay there. I don't care. What your vehicle is say? Oh, that's a good question. That's an awesome question. Good question, Face the Sky. You got to go back to, what is it? Before the is it 70, 72 or something like that? You guys have to go back before they put computer chips into everything. Because that's what gets fried during an EMP. That's a good question. I can go figure out the exact year there if you guys need me to and bring it to you guys later. But yes, there is a model, there is a year there. If you buy, from that year backwards, you don't have to worry about EMPs for them because they didn't use the electronic stuff to run. At least not the ones that that would be affected by the EMP stuff or a CME. Yeah, it's way back, Jason, for sure. I don't know, Face. I think it's before that. I really do. I think it's before 83. You know what? I'll go look that up, guys. And we'll see, and I'll bring it back to you guys. Okay? That's a good question, Face. Thank you for asking that. That's a good question. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys this progression here. This is exactly what we expect to see as far as the solar cycle. It's following a cycle. So, is it 75 or earlier, Hilly? That makes sense. That makes more sense to me. Hey, Becca, what's up? Knowledge 2020. It's hard to see with the oh, sorry. Here, let's do this. I'm sorry. Yeah. How about we just do that for a second? Is that better? I'm sure it is. So, yeah, there you go. Good call. Good call. Sorry about that. So, yeah. Well, Face the Sky, if it's a truck that you have that doesn't have anything in it yet, you could put whatever you want in it. So you just got to make sure that it's not being ran by the hey Margaret, that it's not being ran by a CPU, and that because it won't run, it'll fry it. It's just like a computer, guys. I mean, if you fry the brains of it, it won't work. So you got to go back to the old style rotor and button. Anybody that knows anything about a car, you got a rotor, and it's the timing of it. It spins around and it fires your cylinders. And you got to go back before all that fuel injected stuff and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's a great question. You know, we've talked about that before, but I haven't really addressed it lately. So good question. Anyway, yeah, so this is 2021 on back. And you can definitely see there is a definite, you know, consecutive change here that ramps up and ramping down. We can see this better sometimes on Soho, and if I change the brightness of it, sometimes that'll actually draw it out a little bit more and you can see a little bit better. But yeah, I can't get over how good of a question that is. See, that's what I'm saying. You guys teach me more than anything. I mean, honestly. So, hey, Julie, what's up? Yeah, your car batteries are always, anything battery. Think about that, guys. There's a reason why they sell EMP protection, like cases and bags that you can actually put your D-cell batteries in. Not D-cell, any kind of battery you want. But yeah, Verte's right there. Your battery can be affected. And guys, believe it or not, they sell like these car tarps that you can park your car in your garage and put the tarp over top of it, and you just connect it to a ground. And if you do that, it protects it from it. Whatever's underneath that tarp, you can make Faraday cages. There's so many different things. And once we're on this subject, Rip Curl. If you guys don't know who Rip Curl is, go check out his YouTube channel. He does a lot of the prepping stuff. He talks about stuff like this. He's, in my opinion, the best prepping channel on the internet. Just my opinion. But go check him out, guys. Rip Curl. It's Rip. He added another word there. Rip Curl Preparedness, I think. Something like that at the end of his name there. He just added that recently. But you guys can find him. I think he might even be in my description. I can't remember if he's in there or not. So, but yeah. Okay, guys. You guys got any more questions for me, and I'll try to pop on here. But guys, please spread the word about that second channel. If you guys know anybody who wants to come on here and just put out whatever, I don't care what it is, just have them email me, and we'll set it up and we'll make it work. I don't care if it's somebody that you guys don't think I like. I'm willing to talk to somebody that, I can be an adult and I can let them say what they need to say. So it's just what it is. They're just going to have to, yeah, Ricky, we talked about that a minute ago, the Salton Sea. But yeah, guys, please help me with that. I don't ask you guys for a whole lot of help, and that's, it's awesome because I don't, typically need it or anything, but help me with this one. I really want to, because I think it's going to help everybody. I feel really strong about this. I want to get this going so we can have a bigger discussion than just what I'm showing you guys. That's the point. So, all right, guys. I am going to go ahead and pop off. So, thanks for stopping in. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Sorry it's been a minute. I noticed on my shorts there the question I asked. Most of you guys liked them. So I'll continue to post them there and on TikTok. If you guys haven't followed me on TikTok and you're on TikTok, please go over there and do that. Please ring the bell. I don't ask you guys to do that ever either. Ring the bell on my channel. That way maybe, when I do post, you'll see it. If you're lucky enough. Sometimes it don't get put out anyway, but yeah, guys, so I really do. I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate y'all. And, yeah. So, I am going to get off here, guys. God bless. Yahusha saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.